Hello everybody, welcome to the OVRC WTCC at the Nürburgring. This is technically round 5 of the mini WTCC championship where we're currently running as part of the OVRC. Is what became out of the Variety Cup now. We're now racing purely WTCC cars. I'm once again joined by my co-host of Erwin van der Boer.
Hello everyone.
He's now in high definition.
Oh boy, how exciting.
Alex, high definition.
Mark Whitford has joined the server for a practice session. Sorry we're a bit late again because the race room has had some server trouble. Ooh, Mark Whitford is in the Chevrolet, actually. That's the first time we've seen that car.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen that. Yes, as everyone said, there's been delays, the server's having issues, but that's all being resolved now. So we're kind of being worrying about that, which is why we're not ready to roll as normal. Last couple of broadcasts have been a bit like that, but there you go. That's just the nature of it. Can't avoid things.
Hey, this time it was not your fault.
It's not my fault. Anyway, so Nürburgring, very well known, mostly for the bit which is up north. But the GP circuit's also very well known as well. We're using the short configuration of the track and not of the longer of the track. A couple of reasons. But for enough. So, as we wait for some more people to join the server and actually get the overlay back up, right now I have a couple of that.
And Mark Whitford is out on track now. He just left the pits.
So, sorry about the slight issues we're having right now. Again, this sort of what happens when you have everything gets knocked back, but we'll soon be high. But right now, it's only Mark right now on the server. He's just getting some laps out, it seems, in the Chevrolet. Car we've not seen racing at all this series.
Right. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how Mark performs in that. And yeah, because we haven't seen the car before. We don't know what it's going to be like. Of course, we know Mark Whitford. We know how good he is. So hopefully, we'll finally get a good idea of how this car actually behaves.
You can sort of hear the backblast that car produces. Got quite a different sort of backblast to other cars. A bit more technical issues going on right now. Involving the overlays, they're right now appearing. Solve this issue.
I'll try and keep you up to date with anything happening in the server. Speaking of which, Mark Butler just crossed the finish line. It's a 126.9.
Right, there we go. We now have the overlay is now back again. Once again, sorry about that. I have the overlay back again. So again, the Chevrolet's out. One thing to remember is the short layout. So at turn 5 on this circuit, where you normally go turn to the left, you get to just before turn right, around a smaller hairpin, and then you head back on down your way. So the main point you miss is the Schumacher S's and the Dunlop hairpin at the bottom of the course. Other than that, it's exactly the same as normal. Now, speaking of tracks and stuff, well, not really. Once again, it's another warm day outside, so it'll be interesting how many people actually do show up because it's been quite warm in Europe once again this week. Many people who are based in who watch this and will know it's been roasting outside, and more people say from other countries say, "Ah, that's not too bad." Most of us are not really used to this temperature, so it's quite a lot when you wake up and realize, oh, hang on a second, it's 30 degrees outside. As Mark hits the barrier then. Bit too much curb there. I want to be careful on that curb. It does have a little bit of a sausage curb on it to make it less likely to go on the curb.
Yeah, just enjoying some laps outdoor right now, getting more practice in. He's already half second down on
I think
the first lap he did.
First
at 26.9, now he's on 26.4.
Another thing to note about this circuit is, as well being the short layout, it's also using the fast chicane, not the slow one. It's again, you can attack it quite a lot more compared to the slow one. Which we saw a lot of action happen at the slow one during the Czechoslovakia endurance race last week. So we do actually know how this track handles, but I was in prototypes plus P2s. This is in touring cars, so
yeah, very very different beasts. Oh, as he takes a lot of curb through there again. Gets up on 2 wheels. Two tenths down on his fastest lap.
get some laps out. We're still waiting for a few more people to hop onto the server. We've still got 50 minutes of practice to go, so we're not really worried too much about that right now, what's going on, so shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. Plus, people have been enjoying these cars, so and it is not an unpopular track. Very familiar, very popular in sim racing. So I think it should be all right.
I go through this very fast turn 12, which is not turn 12 on this particular layout, but the track map I'm currently using was listed as turn 12. I will need to find myself a new one. Add that up. Across the line. What time is that? 1:26.582. Once again, it goes through the curb again. Try to say that's not. Don't actually know if that's the quickest way of doing it, personally. Always a bit quicker to not get your car on two wheels, but we'll see. Again, we're not driving it, so we don't actually know. It could be the quickest way of doing things sometimes. Turns to the pits. Or to do a couple of setup adjustments. So what if it's back out on track again? How about you get a backfire you hear from the Chevrolet when it does change down? You get a little backfire. It's quite different from the other cars, which you sort of hear turbo whine, and this one you sort of feel a bit of backfire. There were reports that there'll be some more people eventually helping on. It's going to be a bit slower, just because again it's somewhat short notice. It's all because of the server issues before. Some people weren't expecting it. You going? We should have a race though on our hands, which is good.
Yeah, right. Normally, there's a bunch of people practicing like before this practice session even starts. So, yeah, of course, people were not in there because of the server issues. So, hopefully, we get some more people in pretty soon. Still 41 minutes to go until qualifying. As Marco saves 3/10 of his time in Sector 1.
So 40 minutes left, and Whitford is improving his time still. Open another couple of windows because my room is getting a bit warm now. This room I'm currently in doesn't help the fact that I have computer running. Computers kick up a lot of heat, especially when you got powerful hardware. So you got to be a bit careful about that.
Yeah, I can't even open my window because the sun is shining right into it.
Do you not have blinds? Don't have blinds, unfortunately.
No, I don't. We're starting to see some more activity in our chat room right now, so should be more people joining in soon. But for this, back into the pits once again.
Yep.
He's now at a 125.7.
So he is actually improving his time.
Right, it's fairly big improvement. His first lap of this session was a 126.9. He's down to 125.7 now.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get that time quicker and quicker. He's done 9 laps so far in practice session. I believe he's not done any practice beforehand. But be interesting to see because we haven't seen the Chevrolet. We don't know how good it is. Because obviously, as said before in this broadcast, no one's used it before. So
Of course, it might just be really good.
It might just be the best car, as no one's used it yet. So he's back in the pits, probably doing a couple more setup tweaks. So we have possibly 2 big names not unfortunately going to race today due to issues. First being Thomas Jensen and Tom Dentis is second. This appears to have internet issues. Thomas Jensen's reason is unknown at the
Utford is back on track.
Oh, there we go.
Stephen Higgins has joined the server in the Honda.
So, 2 cars. He was once again, we were very good at Monza, wasn't he? He got a very good result there, so it'd be interesting to see if he can keep that form up this race. We have a little bit less competition this time around. Due to the lack of numbers, obviously. So we've got a Honda and a Chevrolet. Now, 2 of the cars which were at the beginning weren't very used much. Now slowly, well, this race we've got 2 of them. So it's going to wait for these 2 to get out on track right now. So, there we go. Stephen Higgins is now rolling out of the pit lane now in the Honda WTCC car.
Looks like we're slowly gonna get some more drivers in here right now. And
Yep.
there's a couple of people intending to join. So hopefully we will still have a race on our hands about 30 minutes from now.
Yep. And if you guys are interested in what happened to the servers, there was nothing on Sector 3, developers' end, they could have done about it. It was unfortunately a case on the data center's end. Something failed on their end. Luckily, our server was hosted by the same people, but it did not affect our server, so we didn't have to worry about anything about it. But it affected the store and how Raceroom operates, which unfortunately did mean that you couldn't actually start the game up. But now that's been resolved. The guys at Sector 3 have done a good job to get everything back up. They've got a backup solution ready to go, so there should be no further issues now. Of course, hopefully these issues don't happen in the future, because I don't want this to happen. So Steve Higgins is going to set his first timed lap.
Right. Meanwhile, Dragos Bypass joined the server in the Volvo.
So there, now we have the Volvo, the first of the Volvos, very popular car. I'm pretty sure we've seen a Volvo every race so far. And it's always been the most popular, probably after the Citroen. Citroen being the most popular, but we don't know today. Limited grid, we might not see any of the Citroens out. Steve Higgins goes through the fast chicane. It's not. It's more of a sort of S section kind of thing, but we'll call it the chicane anyway, because it's where the normal chicane would be if you were racing on a normal configuration of this circuit.
Right, not sure why his time didn't register. He obviously, I think, got the track somewhere, as he's now spun into turn 1.
Yep, and
So,
amateur
Timothy Haynes has joined the server in the Citroen.
So we've got currently 4 cars on the server, only one at a set time, but
Mark Whitford is out onto the track again, getting some more laps in, with 26 minutes left in this practice session.
see if he can start setting a timed lap, this time a proper one, after the last one didn't really count because he spun at the first corner. I believe he actually slammed the handbrake on, but we've got a mix of 4 cars. Everyone's put a different car, so he's waiting for a Lada, and then we have a full family of cars.
That would be interesting. Unfortunately, our usual Lada driver, Thomas Jansen, will not be attending today.
There was a couple of others last time, but again, it's the thin grid this time around. This round is unfortunately not going to help. So Steve Higgins crossed the line. He puts himself a 126.7, which is about a second slower than Mark Whitford's time, but not bad for an actual first, well, second lap in theory. Timed lap out. So
I don't know how much practice he's actually done beforehand. I think he did a little bit, so he's not entirely new to this, but yeah, seems fine so far. Obviously, still 24 minutes left for him to improve before we go into qualifying.
speaking of improving, he's improved his sector 1 a bit. So he's looking to improve his time. He's half a second down on the overall best set with Mark Whitford, but see if he can get himself a bit closer. Remember, he had a very good performance at Monza again. He managed to qualify P4 in the end. Unfortunately, didn't have the best of races to capitulate on it, or there. That's not English. But does cut a lot of the chicane there. I don't know if it's that will count, but yeah, he was very good at qualifying, and got a decent points haul out at the end of it, but just could have been a better result, I think. He puts himself doesn't actually.
We have a new driver in the server, Pepijn Hillemans. I'm sure you'll remember how to pronounce that name, Alex.
No, I won't.
But yeah, he's a new driver that's just joined us today for the first time.
Joining us in these touring cars. Let's sort of see what sort of pace where he is. Is he with the very strong top end of the grid we have at the OVRC, and which unfortunately it'll be kind of small this time around compared to normally, but will he place himself up there? Will he put in the very big and getting very strong mid pack now we have, or will he be one of the back low end of the grid, which is just we the way you say it is a bit like, oh, that's really bad drivers. They're not bad drivers. They're just a bit slower than the others. It's not a bad thing to be at the back end. You still get plenty of close racing, and I think that's the point that we do enjoy, is the close racing we have here.
Meanwhile, Anton Krivalainen has joined. In what car?
Is that my Chevrolet?
The Chevrolet.
So we got
Another one.
Two Chevrolets racing with us today then. So we've gone from Ladas, Citroens and Volvos, and now have two Chevrolets. I think due to the series and how it came to be for this latter part of this, what was originally the Variety Cup, I think some people are still testing the waters in terms of what cars they are going to drive, possibly, if this has become a full-time series. It could be. We are still, as the admins and with the help of the Drivers' Council, still analysing what we will do for Season 4. So nothing is set in stone yet. Of course, announcement will be made closer to the time. As Mark crosses the line, does not improve his time. He's quite a bit off the pace then, compared to his fastest time overall.
Speaking of the next season, we are also considering an endurance series. We'll be holding a test for that on Wednesday.
Yes, there is a Wednesday test race. It's open to all. All you do is have an account on the website. You can sign up, you can join the Discord, and you are away then. It'll be a 90-minute race at Silverstone with the Prototype 2s and the Prototype class consisting of the Radicals and the Mistrals and the DMD, I believe it's called. No Daytona Prototype for reasons right now. It's one of those vehicles we would look into possibly, but we need a bit more testing of it because right now we don't actually think it balanced the others. Plus the GT3 class, which is very familiar from a lot of people now at this point. It's being used a lot. It's no bad thing it's being used. It means people should have some setups ready. We did actually race at Silverstone in Season 2, finishing round 1 hour then, so some people will have setups ready to go for that. So if you just want to have a bit more experience in longer races, you're very free to join that, as get a bit more times set overall in this practice sessions. We've got 6 cars, with 5 of them out on track right now.
Yeah, we've also heard from Sebastian Brunier now. Unfortunately, no race for him tonight because life. That's the reason he gave us. He is expecting to be here for the on Wednesday for the endurance test race. Speaking of the endurance test race, I have posted a link in the chat if you're interested in that and maybe considering joining in either GT3 or P2 cars, as we just mentioned.
So with 20 minutes left, or under 20 minutes left at this point of the session left.
Turka Häkkinen has joined the server in the another Citroen.
Yep, so we're slowly filling up, getting 7 cars on the grid. It's going to be a lot worse originally, so it's not the end of the world as Hillman's set some more times down. Currently in P4, but I don't think as an overall judgment of pace yet. So what we're going to do now is quickly head to a short break, and we'll just grab some quick refreshments for us so we get ready for the race in 18 minutes. We will be back before the end of practice, so stay tuned. We'll speak to you very short. Welcome back, everyone, to this OVRC World Touring Car Cup race at the Nürburgring. Currently leading the session is Mark Whitford in the Chevrolet. He's currently at the fastest time of 1:25.7. Right behind him, well, not right behind him, a second behind him is Stephen Higgins in the Honda. Kovalainen behind Haynes, Limons, Bibe, and Hakkinen. Hakkinen and Bibe have yet to set times yet, but there's 7 people currently in the server right now with 40 minutes to go. We're just going to shortly have Erwin back. He's just gone for a quick break. I've also gone for a quick break, so we'll be back here shortly. So as people start to try and improve times, at the back end, Tillman's car goes a bit, steps out just then. Not the best for him. He doesn't want to be losing too much time with that going on. So he's currently improving while both Bibe and Hakkinen are both starting to set their first timed laps of the session. So Hellman enters the final corner. Let's see what sort of time he can put himself in. Puts himself. He's still P5, so I don't actually improve that lap. Higgins improved his first sector. He's getting closer to Whitford's time. Takes a big chunk out of the hairpin. Surprised that is actually allowed. I believe his lap's been invalidated. It seems so as well. So well, that's unfortunate, but at first sector was very close. Hakkinen set to cross the line any moment now. Puts himself a P7. That's a very slow lap, so I didn't believe that was a. Must have some sort of incident along the way. There's no way that would be that slow normally.
Seems like Whitford doesn't really have competitors so far. So 1 second up on Higgins in P2.
Higgins did get a very close sector 1 at some point, but I think he invalidated somewhere in sector 2 unfortunately. Was 0.099 off as he is very wide into the gravel. So that ruins that lap of Higgins trying to get closer as he appears to keep going, but this lap won't be anything impressive now. Don't get that wide much into the gravel trap. Not the best idea. Gravel doesn't do particularly good for any parts of the car, really. As he's dropped for 3 seconds back on his timed lap. Across the line, it won't be a very good lap. It's a 1:30.7, which is 5 seconds off the pace. Eklund is across the line now. This lap's looking a lot more closer to the time. Still not that quick though. It's a 1:27.7 then. So still need a second, 2 seconds off the pace there.
Yeah, although he's not far off Bipe, so maybe he could get something going there for P6, but so far not really on pace with the rest of the field. To be fair, of course, Whitford still a second ahead of everyone else. Oh, it's in the background there, Higgins goes into the pit wall.
Don't be in the pit wall. Pit wall's not the best way of improving a lap. It has been noted before by certain folk that being in the wall does not improve your lap time.
I thought it was Fasty.
Unfortunately, it's not. It's been proven by scientists and motorsport engineers as we approach the 10-minute mark before the driver's briefing / quali will begin. Mark Whitford's looking to improve his times. Doesn't improve his sector 1. What he can do in sector 2 now. Always a bit odd looking at that chicane because you expect them to slow down a lot more than they do, and they sort of blast through it. Like, they're going to hit the wall. And then hang on a second, there's no wall there.
Yeah, I think also the camera angle that Race Room chose to use is a bit deceptive in that regard.
Haynes sets a personal fastest sector 2.
So does Anton Kivalainen, but let's see what happens when he crosses the finish line. I don't think he improved his position.
I think he did. I think my lifetime is saying he did. Timothy Haynes moved himself up to P2, so he's under a second now of Mark Whitford's time. So people are getting there very slowly. Haynes sets a fast sector 1. Personal fast sector 1, I mean, not an overall.
So do Kivalainen and Bipe.
Payne's going across the line now. Where does he put? He was now half a second off the fastest time. They're slowly getting to Mark Whitford's pace, but Mark Whitford still is quite far ahead of everyone else right now. So with the last 7 minutes of the session, no one right now seems to be improving their times. It's going to be a case of some people out on track, some people are sitting in the pits, conserving energy. Like, there's 2 current people not on track right now. 7 people currently are here right now. Yeah, it's a shame we've got quite low numbers, but I think a lot of them are just due to not helped by the hot weather, and this live sometimes just gets in the way of things, unfortunately.
Yeah. Higgins just sets his own fastest sector 1 again.
Very, very quick sector 1, nearly getting to Mark Whitford's pace.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can keep this going for the rest of the lap. He heads towards the chain, loses a bit of time.
Still looking quick so far. Let's see if we can get ahead of Haynes. As he's about to cross the finish line now, he puts himself into P2. Slightly faster than Haynes, though still half a second off Whitford.
So Haynes and Higgins look like an interesting fight, it might appear. And it's sort of code for line. There's a really big gap between them and the sort of back 3.
Byron Hakkinen could get interesting. Although it seems that Whitford has improved to sector 1 again.
Yep, improved it by a tiny bit, but it'll be enough to make the difference. Does lose a tiny bit of time in sector 2. Definitely gonna be a quick time, but I don't think he might not be able to improve his overall. But we'll find out. He goes through the final corner. See where he puts himself. Does improve, not by much, but now definitely push the other cars out of the half a second range. He's now 0.6 off him compared to 0.5. Ackerland's improved to sector 1. He's all the way back down in P7 right now, so he's trying to make himself. Ackerland goes through the chicane. quite a lot of tyre squeal then.
Should be able to make a big improvement if he can keep this up for the final corner. Let's see what he does. He moves up into P5.
So he puts himself. He's sort of in that fight still with Hillmans and Bibe. Because again, sort of Kovalainen's still about half a second in front of him in terms of times. So you can see what they can do. So 2 minutes left of the session.
I can then improve sector 1 again. 10th of Whitford.
So nearly a minute left in the session to go.
Hackenen moves up into P4.
So he gets a good time in. So now he's up a bit.
Yeah.
Moves himself in front of Kovalainen. Looks like we're going to have about 3 little fights in it, but Whitfield still looks definitely out in front right now.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything else with the current grid. We know Woodford is one of the best drivers in this league.
Well, he's very good in his cars as well. Like
the Toms have unfortunately not joining us today. So yeah, I was expecting Woodford to dominate this, but we shall see what happens in the race. These are tricky cars, so still some potential for things to happen. Although Woodford has been a very consistent driver, I think. So I'm not expecting anything weird to happen, but you never know for sure.
To me, is the Chevrolet a bit longer than the other cars? Does look a bit longer. Anyway, we will now move on to qualifying. Good.
Time for the drivers briefing.
Yep.
Practice. There hasn't been a whole lot of laps done on this track by anyone, because it was quite late deciding, and we were going to change tracks. So the main important bit is, I suppose, turn 1, as always in the Nürburgring. It's always chaos. It's a bit like Monza. There's not going to be a lot of us here, so let's hope we're going to have a good, clean race. No massive accidents. Not really much else to say from me, really. If anyone has anything else to say.
Make sure your nuts on your wheel stand are tight.
Are we doing 2 races?
Yes, be reverse grid for the second race.
Okay,
cool.
position, so that's everyone right now. So
Yes, top 8. So whoever finishes last is going to end up on pole.
Okay, cool.
So I think that's it. We'll go ahead and start qualifying. You're free to leave the pits.
So that was Mark Whitford this time. It's normally towards Jensen, but again he is not available right now to race or do the drivers briefing. So that was Mark Whitford, one of the driver council members, also currently leading the practice session. So once again, another massive rash out the pits. As normal, it seems in this league. One thing we know when we were watching Checker Flag was they were obviously a lot more tame coming at the pits compared to this series.
Yeah, for sure. Not sure what's going on with the qualifying in this league,
Everyone just wants to get out in front, it
but
seems.
yeah, that's the way it is apparently.
So, 17 minutes in this session. Let's see where people end up. Currently, Timothy Haynes does have track position. He's leading the pack right now. So the only car we don't have is a Lada. Other than that, we have all other cars. Bit of a shame, but there you go. So Haynes starts his first timed lap. Let's see what position he can put himself in. Where he puts obviously the fastest sector 1 time, but I think Mark Whitford's already beaten that with a 37.1.
He did. And surprisingly.
Yeah,
Of course, you can keep a closer eye on our on this qualifying session using our live timing channel, as always.
Yep, that is available. So Timothy Haynes crossed the line now. He puts himself of 125.9. Immediately beaten by Mark Whitford with 125.6. Those times start rolling in. Be fairly quick to get everyone through because I think Higgins does get his time invalidated because he is not posted a time. Took over line. Puts himself P4. Does he? No, he doesn't. He does. Hillman's puts himself P5. So you get some times rolling in. So only 2 cars yet to set times. Douglas Bibe and Steve Higgins, as Bibe is currently in the way of Mark Whitford, who's got a faster sector 1, I believe.
Yeah, currently Whitford improving his sector 1, but indeed Bibe. Hopefully he doesn't wipe him out.
As Whitford blinks his way through the go side by side, which how it works in this game, but it's in the rules that you don't have to force yourself over if it's in the quicker time behind it. But sometimes Whitford knows he can set easily the best time, as Bibe puts himself P5, so he is...
Yeah, although it seems that that Hillemans has not really got a good lap in yet.
No, he's about 2 seconds
higher up in practice.
So, and Higgins put himself in, but he's kind of low as well. He puts in a 126.8.
Speaking of Hillemans, he's just coming up to the finish line now. Let's see where he puts himself. Up into P4, 1 second off Whitford.
So, right now, Haynes is half a second off. So that's also expected to be. He was about 6/10 off in practice. So
yeah,
it's kind of not surprising he puts himself there. Higgins sets the fastest sector 1 for him. So he's on the way down P6, where he was not there in practice. He was in
P2, I think.
P2 or 3 by the end of it. Goes a bit wide out of the what would normally be turn 10, but obviously when they're playing using the short version of this track, and he decides that I guess that did cut the track, so he retires to the pits.
Quiverlinen is improving his time into Sector 1 so far. Just coming up to the end of Sector 2 now. Let's see what happens. He improves his time yet again, 7/10 of the pace, so let's see what he can do if he can get ahead of Häkkinen and Hillemans. Coming up to the line now. Let's see where he puts himself. He puts himself up to P3.
So yeah, that was with
9/10 of Mark Whitford.
That was with a 126.348. So he puts a bit. He was lower than that in qualifying and in practice. He didn't have a very good practice. He was about P4-5 in the end.
I believe so. So yeah, it seems that he's managed to pull off a better lap. Although Higgins is still down in P6, he'll probably catch up a bit pretty soon.
Haynes
I don't know
is
if he's out of
just
track at the moment.
Haynes just
Yeah.
had a, I believe, a lockup of some description because he was behind Whitford and he just slided into the wall. So I'm assuming it's a lockup. So his run is being ruined. He's back in the pits now.
Yeah, he's just coming out of the pits now. So is Quiverlinen.
So we're approaching the 10-minute mark. Right now, no one's improving their times. Whitford's on a very bad lap right now, so I don't know what's going on there. Might be trying to set himself up for a new lap. So he's going to start another timed lap. Right now, it seems most people are just getting laps around. Not really any improvement yet. So under 10 minutes left to go in the session. Look at Mark Whitford, he sets himself a faster Sector 1 by quite a few tenths. So we can see where he can put his car at the end of this lap. I still think that Chevrolet looks bigger than the rest of the cars, knowing the Volvo is close to it. Not like it doesn't really matter in this class, but there we go. So he does lose a bit of time in Sector 2. But he's going for the final corner now. Time Worm set himself across the line now. Does not improve his time.
Trackers White just improved his Sector 2 time coming out the last corner now. Should be up a fair bit.
He's
If he's managed to keep it going through the last sector, he moves up into P6.
So that's quite an improvement, because nearly
Although
2 seconds.
Higgins is in P7 now, which is not where we would expect him to be. So yeah, 8 minutes left in the session. I'm expecting him to improve his lap yet. Speaking of which, he just improved his Sector 1.
What's quite interesting to know is the times are all a lot closer to Whitford's time. They're all within a second, apart from Higgins' time. I can't exactly remember what the times were, but is Whitford slower this session? Or is he quicker and everyone else has just moved themselves up to the level? Because everyone is definitely closer, because last time there was definitely a lot more people in the 1.5s and 2 second marks.
Yeah. I mean, I think Whitford is just on his regular times right now. Can't remember if he did. Don't think he did a 24 in the practice. May have done. Can't quite remember. But yeah, they seem to be a lot closer so far. So maybe it's be that maybe Whitford was practicing quality fuel. We don't know, of course. We don't have access to that information.
Yeah, it's something that sometimes we want that information just so you have it, but obviously we do not have that information. Let's see what's Higgins head has caused the sector 1 time. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. It's not a personal best sector 1. He's half a second down, so I don't think this is. It seems like a thing where he can put one lap together, but he can't really keep it to go longer than a single lap. Timothy Haynes improves Sector 1 by quite a significant amount. He's very close to Mark Whitford's Sector 1 time now.
Yeah.
So I think Sector 1 is one of the easier sectors here, which is surprising because it contains the Mercedes Arena, which is a deliberate area to make the track a bit more interesting, because before it was just a sort of kink in the straight, it was a sort of chicane for turn 1, but they sort of added the Mercedes Arena somewhere in the 2000s. I can't remember exactly when it did get modified, but it's what we have now. I believe the road for the original course can still be used. I believe it's what they also use in the 24-hour versions, as Haynes crossed the line. Doesn't actually improve his time. So
Whitford is 1/10 up in his sector 1.
So it looks like he's trying to move himself a bit further away from the rest of the pack. Higgins is still all the way back down in P7. Hillman's is looking to increase his time.
Higgins just improved his sector 1, although he is half a second off at the moment in sector 1, which is I would have expected more from him. So Hillemans just put himself up into P3.
So Whitford improves his time. So that's a bit more, he's now pushed everyone a bit further back, raised the bar up.
Higgins is back in the pits. He just lost it in the chicane, went off into the gravel. I'm not sure what happened there. Wasn't able to see it, unfortunately. He's coming back out of the pits now.
Haynes improves his sector 1, doesn't improve his sector 2 though. So he doesn't look like he's going to improve his time at all. He doesn't. That's a very slow time once again. About a second off the pace. Vibes improves sector 1. He enters the chicane now.
Yeah, unfortunately, his sector 2 is quite far off, so he won't be improving on this lap.
So Vibe is going to cross the line. Does not improve, as said. He loses a lot of time in sector 2. As we have 4 minutes left in the session. Ackerlands improves to sector 1 and 2. As he gets very slidey through the chicane then. Don't know if that is the best way of navigating that section of the track, but I don't know, he was sliding all over the place. So we've got 3 minutes left of the session. Not much is really going on right now.
I think everyone's just sort of settled down at the moment. I think they've just about found their times, except for Higgins. Hopefully he can get a good lap in right now. He is out on track. So second down in sector 1, so it doesn't look like this lap will do it either. But he'll be able to get another lap in with just over 2 minutes left in the session.
Yeah, Kovalainen is currently heading through the kink on the back straight towards the chicane now, so let's see if he can improve his time. He does improve sector 2. You can hear the core of the Chevrolet makes such a different noise when it's just running on the gear. The others make a little turbo flutter, unless you just hear a grumble as it slows down as he goes to the final corner now. So Kovalainen does not improve his time. I believe
Looks
that's
like everyone's in the pits right now except for Higgins.
Higgins
Who's
having
still trying to get a good lap in.
he's having an awful qualifying right now.
Qualifying, yeah. No 3/10 down on sector 1 so far, not too bad.
Higgins improves sector 1. He's got 1 minute left, so he might be able to get a lap in. We will get a lap in. This will be his last chance to try and move himself up from P7. He's right at the back of the orders.
7/10 up through sector 2, so let's see.
Oh, and he
if
goes
can-
very
Oh,
wide. So I believe that's his session over.
Yeah, he won't be able to get another lap in, unfortunately. Kovalainen gets onto the track, but I'm not sure why. Only 30 seconds left. Yeah, I was about to say it's going to be interesting if Higgins manages to pass Hillemans, but yeah, that's not going to happen now, is it?
I don't think that is going to happen now. So Kovalainen is getting a bit more track practice out, but
Good for just doing a practice start in the pit lane.
I don't think much else is going to go on. So I think Mitwith has got your pole position. Heymans in second, Hillmans in third, Kovalainen in fourth, Hackett in fifth, Bibe in sixth, and Higgins in seventh. I still think Higgins has got an issue with consistency. He doesn't seem to be quite there when it comes to consistency. Sometimes he yeah, he just doesn't. He sometimes puts a really good lap out and doesn't continue it. So we're gonna start the race in about 30 seconds or so when everyone gets on track, and there we go. Everyone's now on track. So the first race of the WTCC Nürburgring race says all red lights are there, and they go green now. So off we go for the start. Let's see where people head up as sort of the pack all goes all over the place for the first corner.
Looks like Higgins had a good start. He moves himself up into P4 so far. Let's see if he can keep it into turn 1.
Kovalaine's made a couple positions up as I believe who's that on the inside? It's Haynes on the inside. Kovalainen has the whole position as Hillmans drops all the way back there. So
Yeah, I think something happened there. He's lost quite a bit. Higgins has moved himself up into P5.
So there's a little pack already forming, which was not surprising because all of us have very close times. So there's quite a lot. That's definitely a little pack there as they all get very close. I believe Hillman's got a very bad start. He was last out of the final chicane, so I think he missed his start point and didn't get quite near up. But he's on the back of the pack now, so it shouldn't be too bad for him as they go through into the heading towards the chicane. Mark Woodford's already got a 1.6 second gap over Kovalainen, so he does have the pace advantage here. So they crossed the line now. And there we go, that's your race orders on the first lap. As I think Haynes is trying to make a little move a bit too far back, but it allows Bibe to get very close to the back of them. So Bibe's got all the way up into P4 right now, so it's been a very good couple of laps for him as he gets very close to the back of Haynes's Citroen.
Häkkinen is starting to get onto the back of Higgins. In fact, he just made the move through there, but he won't be able to keep that position. Oh, is someone coming very close behind him? Hillemans.
Someone gets very close behind.
Häkkinen looking to make a move, and Higgins couldn't do it through that corner. There was a little bit of contact through there.
They've dropped back a bit, but Hillman is on the back of Häkkinen in the basically a sister car as such. They are running the same livery, different years, but the same number, same livery. So they get very close to the back of each other now, as Haynes is also making the move onto Clover Line through the chicane. They go side by side, a bit of contact there. I don't know, as Haynes goes very, very wide off the course and loses a position to Bibe as well. That was sort of inevitable.
Hillemans just took the position from Häkkinen. I think Häkkinen went very wide through there as well. It didn't look like it. Yeah, Hillemans was behind Higgins, I believe. Was he behind Häkkinen?
I can't. Hillman's was
Yeah,
right
he was
back
behind Häkkinen, but he's just. Although Häkkinen going up the inside into turn 1, looks like he's managed to take the position back.
Yeah, so going back to the incident at the chicane, it was kind of inevitable, I think, because unlike the slow chicane where you can sort of sneak up the inside and as much is going to happen is you knock someone and knock them off the line, it's such a high-speed corner there. It's going side by side is nearly suicide, especially in cars which don't quite have the downforce to really hang it around there. A bit of contact, basically, as what happened to Haynes, it sends you flying out the side of the track, and he lost a position out of it to Dragus Bibe, who is making his way up. He's in P3 right now, and I don't know if he is closing. He's probably in the slipstream right now of Kovalainen's Chevrolet, so he should be making up some ground soon, as Higgins is starting to close on the back of Haynes.
Yeah, they're going into the chicane now, and getting very close, but he chose not to make a move. Actually lost some time there. So let's see if we can do something into turn 1, as they're crossing the start-finish line right about now.
There's a couple of cars going. Dragus Bibe is getting close to the back of Kovalainen. Higgins is getting close to the back of Haynes.
Haynes, yeah.
It looks like round the outside. He's going to need to get a bit closer than that. Unfortunately, he does lose a bit of time there, because if you want to get round the outside, you have to be side by side, because you can get the inside line for the next 2 corners. You get it right, but slots in behind for now. Might wait till the slipstream appears, as getting all very close together now, as Mark Whitford's definitely made a break for it at the front of the grid.
Yeah, 5 seconds ahead already.
Right on board now with Higgins in his Honda. He started at the back of P7. Again, small grid, so it's not quite as best things, but he has made his positions up, and his pack is very tight right now. He does lose a bit of time coming out of the last couple of corners, but then towards the high-speed chicane once more.
Hillemans getting back onto Häkkinen once again in the chicane. He did cut the chicane a bit there, always loses a lot of time.
Oh, there's a bit of contact between
Bibe and Higgins.
Yeah, so they're trying to get around each other, but this is not what we wanted to see. Don't know what happened there.
Haynes and Häkkinen are fighting. Haynes is on the inside of Häkkinen into turn 1. And Häkkinen was very wide. So yeah, Haynes was able to take the position there.
Hillman's looking to get outside of him, or was that Hillman's? No, Hillman's is behind him now. So, unfortunately, that collision there of Higgins and Bibe has ruined both their races, because they're now 16 seconds behind Hillman's.
Yeah, I don't remember Higgins being close to Bipe yet.
Vibe was all the way fight in P3, so I guess he
Yeah, I
lost
don't
it.
think Higgins was up there yet. So yeah, he may have lost it into, and then went into Higgins. But of course, that's all pure speculation right now. I wasn't able to see it.
So there's a good old group of Citrons moving up towards each other. But this is good news for Coverline. Coverline now got a kind of. It's got a 4-second gap between him as one of the Citrons goes wide. Which one's that? I believe that's
To the grass. Yeah,
no,
that's
it's Hakkinen.
Hakkinen just went onto the grass.
So misjudges braking points and he flew all the way off the grass and the chicane there.
As Bipe and Higgins are just coming out the final corner now. Bipe getting very close to Higgins onto the start-finish straight. And oh, looks like Bipe will be able to pass Higgins maybe on the straight. Higgins went a bit too wide there. Bipe makes the move into turn 1. Or no, he doesn't. He slots in behind.
So it's all about between the three Citrons as keep them going there. Hakkinen is losing a bit of time from Hillman's. But it seems to be right now between these cars a game of gain some in some areas, lose some in others. So I don't think it's quite over yet for Hakkinen, as Hillman's is right on the back of Haynes's car.
Oh, Higgins just went very wide into whichever turn that was. I can't remember, but yeah, Bipe has managed to make his way past because Higgins went onto the grass. Almost rhymed.
So Hillman's looks up the inside of Haynes's car, but it's lots in behind for now, I believe. Haynes goes for the very defensive line there.
Higgins goes up the inside of Bipe into the chicane. He's managed to make his way past. Now coming around the final corner. Bipe's still sticking very close behind, so maybe he'll be able to make a move in turn 1 again.
So the three Citrons are still sticking very close to each other. None of them really managed to make a break for it because they seem to. Each of the drivers seem to have an area where they're a bit stronger than the other. I'm trying to still work out if they actually are closing to the back of Kovalainen. I don't believe they are. I think Kovalainen's got a slight bit of advantage over everyone else. So at least these three cars are still very close to each other as they head now down to the back straight. If you like the look of this, you can always, there's a link in the description to join the league. We're also running a endurance races. One of the cars goes to the grass. I think that's Haynes, goes very wide into the grass there. Managed to keep the position going, but loses a bit of time he had on the others. Now they head down to start finish straight now. Under half the race is now completed, so it's be interesting to see what happens as Hakkinen looks for the inside line, goes for it, and I believe might make the move work. I believe he does, but Hillman's have the inside line again now. Has to go through the Mercedes arena, but does he keep it enough alongside? No, he doesn't. He's now behind, and Hakkinen makes the move. And that was a very good move by Hakkinen. Now I have to say, very clean. Unfortunately, what it has done is lost some time to Haynes. So now they have to go and try and chase down Haynes again, because Haynes has gained nearly a second on these two. Here's your current race leader, Mark Whitford in the Chevrolet. He's got quite a big gap now, isn't that? Near a 10-second gap. The person behind, and we're not really surprised at this rate. He's just had the pace, and all his normal rivals unfortunately are not racing with us today. So unfortunately he's still going to walk away with it. But it's still reverse grids, anything can happen in race 2. So, well, anything can happen still in race 1. So let's see what happens. Let's not get our heads down
Right.
too far.
Yeah, of course, if he finishes P1 in race 1, he's gonna have to start all the way from the back in race 2.
So the Citroen seem to be splitting up a bit. I think it's mostly been because of the move Hakkinen made, as Hillman's got a bit wide into turn 1 there. Yes. But I believe that move, while a good move, has cost both Hillman's and Hakkinen a chance to get close to Haynes' car, just by virtue of that little fight that happens between them. And of course, if you fight a lot, you always lose time.
Yeah, Higgins seems to also be running away slightly from Bibe. And they're splitting up a bit.
The gap
Of course,
between
they're way down from the rest of the pack.
it's still a very good race until their collision, so it's a bit unfortunate that they had that collision. Hillman's is closing on the back of Hakkinen's car as he gets the slipstream down the back straight. The gap between Haynes and Kovalainen is not increasing much. I believe Hillman's got a bit of a better launch out the foot. That chicane looks for the inside. Hakkinen closes off, but they're very close together now, and he's going to have to slipstream all the way down the start-finish straight. So he's going to start closing. Hakkinen takes the defensive line. Hillman's pulls out to the side, but I don't think he's close enough to really make anything happen. We might have compromised Hakkinen's line as they go side by side, but it doesn't look like he's still there yet. But speaking of that, he's going for the switchback now. And he's side by side again now into the... Nope, they're still behind. Camera angles and perspective things are... Some days just throw you off completely.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times before.
You think, you're like, oh, they're side by side, but they're really not. They're actually behind each other. So, Hillman just once again behind Hakkinen's car, and Hakkinen is now 2 seconds away from Haynes. Now, if you think there's any issue with balanced performance here, these cars are all up together, so they should all be fairly close with different advantages and pros and cons. Only issue is, since the series, we do not have locked cars, unlike a series like the GT3 series we're running. So, since the cars are not locked, you can change which car you race every race if you feel like it. So it's not really just a bit of contact there, a big bit of contact there.
Hakkinen.
Hakkinen still in front. Hakkinen is still in front. But that sort of lost Hillman's a bit of time there. But a bit of shunt there, and I don't really think anyone's at fault. I mean, well, obviously Hillman's is at fault for it, but I can't really say. I think it was a bit late in the brakes and trying to make the move up, which was not there. So, but luckily no one loses the position out of it. So, I don't think the stewards will have any issue with that happening. So 4 minutes left in the race. The gap again, the Kovalainen and Haynes gap is staying very much static right now. It's about 4 seconds between the two. So not increasing much.
Actually, the gap between Kovalainen and Whitford doesn't seem to have changed much either in the last little while. So maybe
I think
Whitford's backing off a bit now that he has a comfortable lead.
Well, if you look at their last laps, Kovalainen's last lap is actually quicker than Mark's lap. So has Mark done something to his tyres, or is he just backing off to be a bit safer? As Hillman's is once the back of Hakkinen again, so they're closing up together for the last bit. Actually, they're very close now. They're under 200th of a second now as they want to get closed all the way across the line. It's a very wide start-finish straight here at Nürburgring. So a lot of place to move around as he gets forced to the outside line. Hillman's, can he make the switchback happen? He may be able to. Let's see now as to go on board with him. Hakkinen's just in front, pushes Hillman's a bit wide. Hillman's goes for the inside against very close, but can't make the move work.
I think there was a bit of wheel banging there, but obviously no room to make a move.
Very close there. Hackling is very slow there, and Knee gets taken out by Hillman's. That was dangerous there, because the angle that Coverline was at was very much like a T-bone angle. It's a position where it was a bit harder, the car being round. So they want to get very close into the chicane. I believe Hackland's got a bit more pace for you. Saying that, I think Hackland got slightly better. Hillman's got a better exit. Still on board with these two as once again they move all the way across the track. Hackland trying to force him to the outside, and so he does as they go down to the first corner with 2 minutes left in the race. So it's going to be this about, I'd say, 2 more laps, maybe. Let's lap and 1 more after this. Hillman's is right.
Looks like it.
Hillman's is right at the back of Hackland and Citroen. Going to try for the outside. This goes for the inside. This goes to the outside, but trying to make the cutback work. And Hackland goes a bit wide there. He's now got the inside line for the next corner. He might manage to make the move work. They still go side by side. But I think Hillman's managed to make the move there. So finally Hillman's is now in front of Hakkinen. After what was a very long fought battle between these two. Let's see if Hakkinen can get close up again.
Seems Higgins is pulling further ahead of Drago's bike. The gap is now increased to about 5 or 6 seconds.
I think Higgins is actually closing the gap on the back of these two cars we're watching on right now, so...
Although, yeah, it's 13 seconds behind, so unless an incident happens between these two, nothing's gonna come of that.
So under a minute left of the race. Hakkinen a bit too far back to really make a move work. As he gets very wide there and loses a bunch of time, and there you go. The current race mate Mark Whitford is going to head towards the back straight race shortly now. 20 seconds left. Will this be the last lap? I believe it might. So with 10 seconds left, I believe this will be the last lap. We're on it right now. So into the chicane he goes. The last time of this race. Still got 1 more race to go after this. And there we go. The clock is now at 0. The checkered flag will be at the line for Mark Whitford.
So he wins this race, but he'll be starting last in the next race.
So there you go. There's.
So we'll have plenty of overtaking to do in the next race, unlike this one. So
next across the line is Kovalainen. After missing out a bit of contact earlier, he now managed to make himself into P2. P3 is Haynes. Hillman's on his first race of the OVRC. Managed to grab himself P4. Just in front of Hakkinen. And then coming through the final corner now is Higgins. After this bit of contact with Bibe, set them both to right at the back of the grid. But they will start at the front of the grid for the next race, as they're now, it's just Bibe coming through the final corner now to round off this, while small, very good race actually between the midfields there, between the 3 Citroens. So there's your results, as Mark Whitford definitely sets the fastest time overall and wins the race by a healthy 12 seconds. So not a bad result for him at all. Let's prepare to move on to the next session now. So to race 2. So Whitford at the back of the grid now. Bibe at the front of the grid.
This will be interesting. Historically, race 2 has been a bit of a chaos in this league. Let's see what happens. As
So
the
red lights are
goes by.
out, and green we go as Dragon's Bibe goes. We managed to keep in front of Higgins. It looks like he will, as it's a very straightforward start compared to last time. Whitford already made a couple of positions up as they go into the first corner now. Higgins is on the inside line. Doesn't look like he does it. Higgins might lose a position to Hakkinen. No, he doesn't. Or does he? They go side by side again. Hakkinen's got the inside line. We'll have the inside line again for the next corner. Looks like Hakkinen will manage to squeeze his way through as the pack of cars. There's a bit of contact there between the two of these, and Hakkinen's round. And that's not the start we wanted to see there, as I believe Higgins has stopped up behind, and now he's lost a bunch of positions, and he's at the back of the grid now.
Oh, someone's almost rolled. Went onto 2 wheels there.
Yeah, Haynes loses a bunch of
That was,
positions there, and he's now at the back again. Mark Whitford's making up ground. He's already in P3 already. He's got 2 cars to deal with now. And he's already starting to flash his lights, so looks like he just wants to make positions up as he can. He's currently behind Hillman's right now as he enters the first chicane for the first time of the second race. Not exactly the start we want to see with two one major incident, one minor incident going on there as they cross the line now. Bibe is currently leading the race. We're on board now, Whitford, who's on the rise of the back of Hillman's as Citroen. We are on board with him right now. Loses a bit of time through the Mercedes arena. But once again, it's right back in the slipstream. And the slipstream in these cars is pretty powerful. Some cars have it affects them less than others. These cars seem to have a very strong slipstream.
Strong.
So, he does lose a bit of time there though, as Steve Higgins is looking to make his mistakes up for the first couple of laps. He starts in the front row. Fortunately, had an incident very early on with Hakkinen, and is now trying to make his positions up. He's right on the back of Haynes's Citroen, and right in the background there you can see Hakkinen is trying to also close up the gap between these cars right now.
Woodford still closing up on Hillemans on the start-finish straight now. Let's see if he can get close enough to make a move into turn 1. I don't think he'll quite be able to.
He's looking for it, but doesn't decide against it. Takes a slightly different racing line though. Takes the corner a bit wider. I believe he slots in behind for now. Still behind Hillman's car as he gets very close there to the bumper of the Citroen. You get a good exit out of here. He's looking again for the gap. Gets very close to the back of the cars. Gets very close then. As you can see, Whitford has definitely got a bit more pace in him compared to Hillman's, but I believe Hillman's is close to the back of Bibe as well, so Bibe's obviously lost his lead a bit. As Hillman's is right on the back of Bibe now. So they're going to go side by side in the chicane. This happened last time and lost, I believe it was Haynes a bunch of positions, when he went side by side for the chicane the first time around. Goes a bit on the curb then, Hillman's. Does he lose the position to Whitford? Look like he does. So Whitford managed to take the position back from Hillman's, but Hillman's is now right on the back of his car. As Whitford swerves all over the place to try and keep his position ahead as he looks to make a move onto Bibe as well, who's in front. He's trying to make trying to get both these moves done in the first 5 minutes of the race. Can he do it? I don't think he can. He's got 12 seconds to do it. It doesn't look like it will be happening. Will Hillman's be able to close on the back of these two in front? Doesn't seem likely right now. He is losing a bit of time between them. But with him having the easiest time to pass, Vibe. Saying that, he's now side by side going into the thing. So this will be interesting to go side by side. This is not going to be pretty if we go side by side here. There's a bit of contact there. Mark gets knocked off a bit. Might be a bit of door rubbing there as Whitford goes down the inside, tags the back of Vibe's car. And so Vibe managed to stick in front, but the more fights these two do, the closer Hillman's is getting to the back of them both. They go wide out, one step out. Will Hillman's take the next step out? No, he goes for the middle line. As I believe Mark Whitford just managed to slip in front of both of them. Will they come back for him? So it does as Vibe managed to hold his second place up. But Whitford is through now, so Whitford has taken the lead of this race. As Hillman's having another go at Vibe.
And well, Haynes is getting closer to Quiverlinen. He's looking up the inside, but he's not close enough to make a move quite yet. But he'll be looking to do that pretty soon. Higgins is also closing up on him. So will be an interesting fight for P4 there.
I believe Mark Whitford has managed to make an escape. He's now 1.2 seconds already ahead of Vibe, as Hillman is closing the back of Vibe's car right now. As they go through the chicane for the 5th time. Let's see if we can get any closer to each other right now. Oh, most cars are in a second, apart from Hakkinen and Vibe. Vibe has lost a bit of ground compared to, as he goes very wide, deep into the corner there. Don't be doing that too much. You lose quite a bit of time going out there. As Hillman goes on 2 wheels there over the curb.
Oh, Haynes has gone wide on the at the end of the Mercedes arena. It allowed Higgins to get very close.
Higgins on look for a move. He looks for the inside. Doesn't look like he can do it. He slots in behind for now. Higgins is getting very close now to the back of Haynes's Citroen. Oh, as
Hilleman's closing up on Vibe.
yep.
Close enough to make a move into turn 1, I think. Yes, he's going up the inside.
Does Vibe cover it? No, he doesn't. He goes down it, brakes, gets very deep though, and out brakes himself.
Yeah.
And might lose position once more to Cloverline, and Cloverline's around the back of him now. Now's he overcooked that braking by a long way now.
Yeah, that was much too late. No way he's going to make the corner.
This is a very strong pack of cars. Unfortunately, Hakkinen was all the way back, still 5 seconds behind this whole pack. Hopefully, he can close up with 10 minutes left in the race. But interestingly, Hillman's Vibe has gone a bit slow, so now he's got quite close. Haynes is right on the back of Cloverline, and Cloverline's on the back of Hillman's. And Higgins is around the back of Haynes, so that was not any particular good order at all. But there we go.
Unfortunately, it seems that Häkkinen is not able to get any closer after the collision he had with Higgins, I believe.
I believe it was Higgins, very on as Haynes looks for the inside line of Kovalainen. A bit of contact there. Heck, Kovalainen is a bit slow as now Haynes is round the back of the Chevrolet. Kovalainen came second.
Illiman's also getting close onto Bibe. He tries to go around the outside, but he was not able to get close enough to make a move.
Haynes goes down the inside. Can he make it work this time? Yeah, he stays in front. He managed to make the overtake, and Higgins managed to sneak through as well. So Kovalainen.
Yeah, Higgins has made his way past Kovalainen.
So now Kovalainen. Oh, so now get rather close. Higgins gets right on the back there. Just be careful there, he doesn't lose the position to Kovalainen.
Illiman still closing up on Bibe.
Kovalainen
Tries
is
to go on
Kovalainen.
the inside.
Kovalainen goes a bit wide there, trying to make the move on Higgins, and loses a bit of time there. As he goes on the grass.
Higgins and Wilfred going side by side, just going up to the back straight now.
Bit of contact
Seems that
there.
Illiman has put his car in front.
Oh,
and
Bibe goes very wide
Bibe
there.
goes very wide into the gravel.
Loses a bit of time, and now I think might unlock the opportunity for Haynes to try and make a move. Is Haynes a bit too far away right now? A slot back for now during the chicane. As Kovalainen has dropped back a bit now, due to his going a bit wide through the turn, whatever it's called. So when we make a move down to turn 1, doesn't look like it. Speaking of that, no, Haynes tries to make looks down the inside. Doesn't. No one overcooks it this time. Kovalainen's trying to make his gap up if he can. They all go all over the place through there, trying to defend their line. As Higgins goes down the inside, can't do it though, and gets knocked all the way outside again. Like he doesn't go spinning or anything, but just a polite reminder saying you can't overtake theirs. Now Haynes is on the back of Bibe now. The side by side.
Higgins looking very close to them.
Bit of contact there.
We're trying to capitalize on any mistake being made by those two there.
Bibe's right on the bumper now of the car in front. Can you get any closer now as they head towards the chicane? Look, he looks for it. Does he go for it? Side's better of it. Just slots in behind for now. Goes take a big chunk of grass there. Besides, that bit of grass needs a bit of mowing, but does lose some time, and he's now half a second behind Haynes, unfortunately. He's got to worry about Higgins, who's now behind him.
Yeah, getting very close. Let's see if he makes the move into turn 1. Don't know if he's quite close enough.
Oh, it's a bit late. Oh, there's another contact between these two once again. And as Higgins goes into the wall.
Yeah. I think he's not very happy with himself right now.
Oh, that's a big old shunt there as Bibes is now returned to the pits. So he's had enough, unfortunately, as Higgins makes his way onwards. And that's 21 seconds behind.
Very frustrating day for Higgins.
And Bibe, they both had a shunt as Higgins also retires now from the race as well.
I mean, I think it was especially bad for Higgins as he was not able to get the pace he had in practice in qualifying. So he started way down the grid, and then collision happened. It's not a very good day for him at all.
Unfortunately, he has broken the pack up slightly as well, so
Just 5.5 minutes left in the race now, and the pack seems to be a bit broken up. Let's see if Kovalainen can get closer to Haynes. I'll be looking to do that right now, 1 second behind.
the two closest cars on the grid right now. As they all head into turn 1. Häkkinen's getting 2 positions out of it after his unfortunate start. Again with Higgins with a bit of contact there, so I think Higgins might be under a bit of the watch of the stewards, because he was involved in 3 crashes. Not all saying all of them was his fault. One of them was somewhat his fault, but so it'll be interesting case to see. So, under 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the race to go. As Kovline does lose a bit of time onto the back of Haynes' car.
Higgins has already apologized over the collision with Bipe there. He said he was expecting Bipe to defend on the inside, but he didn't, and so Higgins was too late on the brakes and went into the back of him. Both cars have now retired.
Personally, I don't think that's I know he means it when he says that, but I don't think it's really a valid excuse.
Yeah.
I don't really care if I spoil it now, but if you go back to Baku, F1, and you can sort of tell that it's a similar thing again with those two hitting each other. One of the drivers thought the other driver would do something, he didn't do it, and then they shunted in the back at each other. So I think you can't really say like, oh, I expect you to do something, because you have to react to what they actually are doing. If your dummy doesn't work,
exactly.
If your dummy doesn't work, then you're going to have to back off. You can't just expect them to immediately read, because they're obviously trying to read what you're doing and saying, if he's going there, I'll stick to my line.
Seems that Kovalainen has lost a bit of time to Haynes.
Mark Whitford extends his lead to 6 seconds now, with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Seems that Haynes is slowly closing the gap though onto Hillmans though. Hillmans has managed to stay mostly out of trouble so far this race, so he's all the way in P2. So being very good debut races for him. Managed to hopefully can keep this result to the end, as I believe we're going to have at most 2 laps remaining. We go under 2 minutes now. Well, Haynes managed to close the gap. He does lose a bit of time, unfortunately, through there. With 1 minute left in the race, as Mark Whitford crossed the finish line. This will be the last lap now. There's no more time for another lap to happen. And Haynes definitely tries to get a bit closer, but I don't think he's got enough time really to get any closer.
No, he's still about 1.5 seconds off, so I don't think he'll have enough time to get any closer to Hillmans and make a move on him. Let's have a look at the times right now.
Haynes is lapping a bit quicker.
Yeah, Haynes was a tenth faster on the last lap, but that's of course not enough to make up second and a half gap.
Interesting, Mark Whitford's last lap was slower than Hillman's. But I think Mark Whitford is the tyre life is just enough for him to keep going in 20-minute races. I think after that his tyre life just doesn't seem to work. He is like, this is the second time he has been slower during his last few laps.
Could also just be going into cruise mode as he crosses the line now. The checkered flag is out.
As Hillman's crossed the line in second. What a great debut from him.
Yeah.
Fourth and second. I mean, the grid was small, but you gotta take it sometimes. Overline crossed the line in sixth, and Hackney crossed the line in P6.
P5.
P5. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, P5. There you go. So there is your WTCC race 2 results. Whitford takes the win again. Hillman's second, Haynes third, Coverline fourth, Hackney fifth, Higgins sixth, and Bibe seventh. With those last two being a DNF. So I think that's it. I think we can maybe get an interview with Whitford if he feels so inclined. Otherwise, I don't think there's much else to say. Remember, we do this Wednesday. We will be having a endurance race. As we're going to have Mark Whitford into us now for a quick interview. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Another dominant performance in WTCC for you, then.
Yes, it's very enjoyable.
Very enjoyable. You seem to get into these cars, and not saying you're slow in GT3, but you seem to be a lot more home with these cars than the GT3s. I mean, you're not.
Yeah, I feel with the World Tour cars, you can really push them without fear of losing too much time. Whereas with the GT3s, if you go too much, you're just going to spin and lose a bunch of time.
So obviously in race 1 it was pretty straightforward to you, so I won't talk too much on that one because you just managed to extend the gap massively. In race 2, which is the exciting one because you started from the back of the grid.
Yeah, race 2, the first 5 minutes were pretty fun. I would have enjoyed if I had been stuck in that pack for a little bit longer. It would have been more fun. But it was some nice, clean, good racing.
Yeah, I think somewhat it'll be more interesting was a couple more of the high caliber drivers we normally have here, but there you go. Do you feel confident in these cars? You feel very good in the cars you said before. Is there any,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Is there any sort of noteworthy performance from anyone else? Because you were stuck behind the top 2 for a while. You were Bibe and who else was there? You were stuck from behind for a while.
I think it was Hillemans.
Yeah. Was that more of a case of you just couldn't get past them, or was it more of a case that you felt like you didn't have to worry too much because you could just get past them eventually? And more
Yeah, in a straight out fight, I don't think there's no one can really pass regardless of the skill level. So you have to sort of set up your passes and make them defend a little bit harder than they'd want to, and then you take their line that they would usually take. The good thing with the front wheel drives is you near enough always have the opportunity for a switchback.
Yeah. So obviously we raced on the short version of the circuit compared to the long version. In your mind, did you prefer racing the short circuit for this race, or do you think the long circuit would have been more preferable?
I think it's 6 of one, half the other. It would have just been a longer lap. It wouldn't have been a longer race, and it probably would have given you a little bit more opportunity to pass with more heavy braking zones. With the slower final chicane too, probably would have helped.
Anything else you wanted to add, Erwin?
Well, we saw your times drop off a bit towards the end, so we were wondering if that is down to the tires wearing out, or were you just cruising because you had enough of a lead?
Oh, I was using my Volvo setup, for Monza, which has quite a lot of camera on it. It's just a case of tire wear. Just once you get about 10 minutes into the race, the tires just really, you can't really go any faster on them, and then you just start losing and losing and losing.
Okay, interesting. So, yeah, congratulations on the victory in both
Thank you.
races.
Yeah, thank you again for coming on here, just discussing what you felt like over the race, and
No problem.
hopefully next race you'll have a couple more of the normal rivals you have.
Well, next race I'll be in Goodwood, so I probably won't be racing.
But bring your rig over there. Let's get a gamepad and just whack the VR on. That's what you need.
Yeah, be good.
All right, thank you very much.
No problem.
And once again, congratulations on 2 wins.
Thank you.
So that was Mark Whitford, your both double race winner here at Nürburgring. Once again, WTCCs do provide very close racing. It's very much like the GT3s, a sort of different sort of racing in a sense. Obviously a bit more door banging, that kind of stuff, while the GT3s have a lot more following behind and waiting for an opportunity. So both lead to very good racing. Once again, if you are interested in joining any of the leagues we run, there's a link in the description to the website, also the Discord as well.
Yep. Also remember, this Wednesday we have an endurance test race, so you can join that if you want. It's GT3 and P2 at Silverstone for 90 minutes, I believe. So yeah, if you're interested in that, then feel free to join.
Alright, believe that's it. So I once again thank everyone for tuning in this time. Sorry the race was not as big as normal, but there's sometimes issues. Again, the race room servers going down probably didn't help a bit, and the weather's also not helping. Hopefully it may be a bit cooler by Wednesday and by next week, hopefully, but we will see. Once again, I'm Alex. Thank you for joining in, and anything you'd like to add, Erwin, before we head off?
And yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope my voice sounded a bit better this time around with my new microphone. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.